Yo, what's up everybody? How y'all doing? This is Jerry here, and welcome to a brand new episode of Ballin' with Jerry. Ballin' with Jerry. Now on this episode is going to be different from all the other episodes that I've recorded in the past. So this episode is going to be about money. Specifically, my money. And basically I'm going to talk to you about my finances and how it's been so far, especially from my lifetime till now. And I'm going to talk to you about how I made my money, which leads to how I'm able to afford the stuff how I'm able to afford to buy the stuff that I buy in all those episodes that you saw. So, because I know a lot of you people are going to be thinking, how is a random 20-year-old guy able to afford all this expensive stuff? All this expensive stuff out of his own pocket? This episode right here is going to answer that question. Trust me, it will answer that question. And I'm going to go into as much detail. Let's go and explain as best as I can how I was able to afford all the expensive stuff I was able to buy out of my own pocket. Yeah, so like I said before, I'm going to talk to you about I'm going to tell you roughly how much money is slipped through these hands right here later on the episode. Now I'm going to tell you how much money I made in that year and how I made the money, where the money came from that year. Then I'm going to move on to the money I've spent that I can remember to the best of my memory, and what I spent it on, or especially the money I lost and how I lost that money. So that all makes sense. Let's move on with the episode. Let's go. Hold up. Alright, so as you read the title of the episode, how rich is Jerry? How rich am I?
I'm really rich. I'll show you that in a second.
How rich is Jerry? And I'm going to answer that question right now by telling you how much money slipped through these hands and how much money slipped through these hands from my lifetime, which can give you an idea of how rich I am. Of how rich I could have been. How rich I could have been. Yeah, so that's what I'm going to talk to you about. So moving on to how much money I made in this year. So I'm going to go back to 2008, because that's the year I can remember when I made my first penny. It wasn't really my first penny, but it was my first few dollars. But I'll tell you the truth, that wasn't a few dollars, it was the first few dollars. As best as I can remember, so going back to 2008, now this is 12 years ago. Now this is 2020, the day I'm recording this video. And 12 years ago in 2008, I actually made a painting back when I was 7 years old. And I did an abstract painting, which I'll show you guys soon. It was a really good artwork, and that was for my school when I was in kindergarten or something, or first grade. And the artwork was impressive. It was very impressive, and I got a lot of attention. And that attention was drawn towards a football player, an Australian football player. I ain't sure if it was an AFL player or a rugby player. It was a football player. And that football player bought that painting, which I'll show you guys in a moment. That football player bought that painting for $5,000. $5,000. So that's easy an easy $5,000 just straight to me at 7 years old. $5,000. But the downside is that I wasn't able to keep that $5,000 at all. That $5,000 all went to the school, to my school. So that $5,000, all that $5,000 went from my pocket to the school's pocket. So I'm left with nothing. $0. So that's $5,000 I made in 2008, which I wasn't able to keep. I had to give it all away to the school. Now, and also I'm going to tell you this before I move on any further. The truth is, I didn't grow up very wealthy. I didn't grow up very wealthy at all when I was younger. I didn't grow up very wealthy at all. I grew up low class. I grew up lower than middle class growing up to the stage where I'm at right now, where things are a little bit better, things are a little bit nicer. I'm living in a nicer house with my parents, which is the house I'm living in right now. Nicer than the house I had back then when I was growing up. I grew up low class, very low class, even though I lived in a very, very, very rich suburb, in Canberra. But the neighborhood I lived at in Canberra was a poor neighborhood. So like I said, I did grow up low class. I didn't grow up very wealthy until around, yeah. So that's kind of my story. I didn't grow up very wealthy. I grew up low class. I'll say poor, but I'll just say low class. Pretty much poor, low class. Where my mom was struggling where my mom was working very hard to provide for me and my brother. But like I'm saying, things are a little bit different now. Now that I'm living in a nicer house and now that my mom's working on her business and getting her business off the ground, which is much better now. But we're still working now. I'm still grinding, especially on YouTube. Yeah. So let's move on with the episode. Now, in 2011, as best as I can remember, I think that was the time when I started getting pocket money, pocket change. Do you remember when you were kids? So let's say you're a kid right now. Do you know when your parents give you pocket change, pocket money? Yeah, that's what I got. But let's say in around 2011 was the date I started getting pocket change, pocket money from my parents, from my mom specifically, and it wasn't very consistent. It was just at some part of the year, my mom would just randomly hand me money and say, "Here you go," and I'll say thank you, whatever. So it wasn't very consistent. It wasn't like weekly, monthly, daily, but it was just random, unexpectedly. And that pocket money, all that pocket money I received in 2011 was around, I'll say $50, as best as I can remember, $50 for that whole 2011, which may not be a lot, but it was something. It was some money in my pocket. Then 2012, I also remember receiving pocket money. And that was when I was in 5th grade. In 5th grade when I was in middle school. And I gotta say that was $50, I'm estimating, somewhere around $50. And that was from that money came from parental allowance, so pocket money, pretty much. In 2013, I'm not sure how much money I made in 2013 because just remember, I live in Canberra right now, so you can't get a job until you're at least 15 years old. And I wasn't 15 years old in 2013. In 2013, I was 12 years old, turning 13 in November of 2013. And I can't remember how much pocket money I received in 2013. So I'm not very sure about that. So moving on to 2014 was when I moved into high school, 7th grade in high school. And that was when I started receiving a bit of pocket money, a little bit of pocket cash. So 2014 was when I was in high school, and to tell you the truth, I received quite a bit of pocket money, quite a bit more pocket money than before 2014. So 2014 was when I started getting more consistent pocket money. Maybe because I was growing up, maybe because I was in high school. But here's the thing. That was when I moved to high school. I developed a habit of, or maybe before, maybe when I started getting pocket money in the first place, I developed a habit of spending money, spending it all. So spending the money. So when I was in high school in 7th grade, I was spending the money on canteen food or cafeteria food, on lunch money. And not just that, it wasn't just me spending money on my own. My friends in high school would end up begging me for money because he saw me showing off my money, and I gotta say that was a mistake. Looking back at it now, because if you flash your money, you'll be a target. You could be a target of getting mugged or getting picked on or whatever. And that's what happened to me. I didn't get mugged, but my friends would end up begging me for money because he saw the money in my pocket and said, "Oh, I need money." And I would just give them money just like that. Yeah, so I was just giving the money just like that. And whenever another friend asked me for money for lunch money, I would just give him money. And then it came to a point where my mom was asking how much money I had in my pocket. Now this is when I started to get into trouble. Because when I told her I spent all the money, my mom would get angry with me because she would expect me to save my money. And that's what I wasn't doing. I was spending all the money on on food and giving the money to my friends that was begging me for money. So it came to a point where I was getting into a bit of heat, into some trouble with my mom. So I ended up slowing down on the spending, because my mom was expecting me to save some money, and that's what I was trying to do. And that was pretty much $100 that slipped into my pocket and out of my pocket in 2014, which is the best I can remember with pocket money. Alright, so moving into 2015. So 2015 was the year, or so maybe before 2015, going back to 2014, was when I almost got cut off from pocket money from my mom, because she would be worried that if my mom would give me money, I would spend all the money. But she didn't cut me off this time. Moving into 2015, she gave me another chance, and moving into 2015 was when I started to how do I emphasize this? Because my mom would give me pocket money again, 2015, and this time I would actually save the money. Just save the money. And 2015 was the year I moved from 7th grade into 8th grade in high school, junior high school. And I would just save the money until this time. This is when I hit another hurdle. This time in So I'm gonna have to go back to 2014. So 2014 was when my mom decided it would be best for me to do after-school tutoring somewhere else, and that would be in the city of Canberra, in the city area of Canberra, in the north, let's say north side of Canberra. She decided it would be the best for me to do some after-school tutoring because she also discovered that she knew that I had to do better in high school. She knew that I had to take high school more seriously and improve my studies. So that's why she decided it would be best for me to do after-school tutoring after school. And that was in 7th grade when I started doing the after-school tutoring. So now, back in 2015, so like I said before, when my mom would give me a pocket change, she would give me around $20 either a month, $20 a month for $20 a week or $20 a fortnight. I'm not sure, but not very consistently, like $20 a fortnight, but then the next fortnight she wouldn't give me another $20, but the fortnight after that she might. I ain't sure. But she would still give me pocket change regardless. And I didn't have a job back then. So, yeah. So she would give me a pocket change, and I'll be saving the pocket change. But this time it came to a point where after school, I went to the city for after school tutoring. But before I went to after school tutoring, I had some time. I had some time to spare, I had some time to waste. And I used that time to pass through Foot Locker. To Foot Locker to look at some sneakers. And I was in a shoe store, Foot Locker, and some sneakers caught my attention. And those sneakers were Nike sneakers. And they costed $60. And at that time I had $50. So I also knew that I had to save. I needed some extra money. I was $10 short of buying those sneakers. And here's what happened. I ended up asking my brother for an extra, hold up. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I asked my brother for an extra $10 or asked someone for an extra $10, but it came to a point where I was able to buy the sneakers, and I was able to buy the sneakers later, and they were Air Match Nike Match Supreme. And if you watch my shoe collection episode, I'll leave a link to that episode in the description so that you can go check them out and that you can go see those shoes that I bought in 2015. And I paid around $60. I paid $60 for the Nike Match Supreme, the red Nike Match Supreme. And so far, at around 2015, I received about $150 in pocket money. And that's the best I can remember off that. Somewhere between $100 and $150 in pocket money for the whole entire year of 2015. So moving on to 2016. So 2016 was the year when I moved into 9th grade. So 9th grade in high school. So this time, what happened was that my mom still gave me pocket money, pocket change, and I'll still be saving. I still developed, because I wanted to develop the habit of saving more and more money. That's what I wanted to do. And so I always did that. I kept on saving and saving and saving and saving money until it came to a point somewhere halfway through 2016. I decided to do work experience at Foot Locker, and it was a great experience. And then after I finished my work experience at Foot Locker, I saw a pair of Nike shoes, and I looked at them and I decided to think about it. deep down in my brain, I knew I wanted to buy those sneakers. I wasn't gonna leave without buying those sneakers. So 2 days after my work experience over there finished, I decided to ask my mom to drive me over to Foot Locker in the city of Canberra, and to buy those sneakers. So after I bought the sneakers, my mom asked me, "Oh, those were some nice sneakers. How much did it cost you?" I'm just paraphrasing this, and I said around I paid $90-something for those Nike shoes, and those Nike shoes were Nike Cortez. So if you watch my shoe collection episode, you see those Nike Cortez. Just watch that episode down below. I'll link it in the description so that you can go check that episode out. Yeah, so back then, in the whole entire year of 2016, I was able to save around $130 in pocket change. So in 2016, I received about $130 in pocket change. But remember, I spent like more than half of the money on sneakers. So leaving me with a little bit of money left over. So that's as best I can remember the money I saved and the money I spent in that whole entire year of 2016. So let's move on to 2017. Now 2017 was the year I moved into 10th grade. Now in Canberra, where I live, so if you live in Canberra, you notice that high school goes from grade 7 to grade 10. Then after grade 10, you move on to grade 11 and grade 12. So that's college. Then after you finish college, there's like CIT, TAFE, or in a different state, New South Wales, or university. But in America, it's different. The high school system goes from grade 7 to grade 12, all the way up to grade 12. Then after that, you can make a decision of going to college or not. Yeah, so moving on to 2017. So I was in 10th grade, and I didn't have a job, still didn't have a job. And I was looking for a job since 2016 or 2015. Mostly 2016, because since I did my work experience, that's when I started looking for a job, because I wanted to get a job and I wanted to make my own bread. So 2017 was the year, and this time, I'm not sure when I started receiving the pocket money in 2017. I guess it was random, very random. And I guess my mom and my family friends would give me pocket change just because. And maybe because I was in high school or something like that. I'm not sure why, but they did it. So throughout the whole entire year, I was able to save a little bit more pocket money this time. A little bit more pocket money. And let me just figure out how much I was able to save and how much I was able to spend. Alright, so in 2017, my mom and my family friends gave me pocket money. Then it came to a point where it was getting close to, when it came to my birthday, the 17th birthday in 2017, in November 2017, November 2nd. That's when I turned 17. And in 2017, that's when I received a big pocket money. Let's say around $300, $300 cash in pocket money. So I decided to buy, with that $300, I decided to purchase my very first iPhone. My very first iPhone. And my very first iPhone was an iPhone 5S. An iPhone 5S. If you people can remember the days of the iPhone 5S, you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. Those were good times. Those were good times. And the iPhone, fun fact, the iPhone 5S came out in 2013. 2013 was the year the iPhone 5S came out brand new. And in 2017, that's when I decided to buy the iPhone 5S for a discount at $275 from a secondhand store that sells secondhand stuff, secondhand technology, secondhand games, secondhand video game consoles, secondhand video games, etc. So I paid $275 for the iPhone 5S, and I was very happy. I was very happy I got that iPhone 5S. I was very happy I got that iPhone alone, just in general. I was very happy for me to buy myself my very first iPhone. Because I remember when I was in high school, I low-key felt out of place. I low-key felt jealous for all the people that had iPhones. Because back then they had iPhone 5S's and 5s and 6s. And I didn't have an iPhone at all, so I really wanted an iPhone. And back then, back when I was in middle school, people had iPods, iPod touches, and I didn't have an iPod. Because I really wanted to get an iPod. I remember asking my mom for an iPod or something like that, and she couldn't really, she wasn't going to buy it for me. I would just say that. She wasn't going to buy it for me. She wasn't willing to do that. And she said that, oh, why do you need an iPod? Do you really need an iPod? Do you really need a new cell phone? And also, fun fact, I got my first cell phone in 2012. 2012, so when I was in year 5. Or maybe year 6, year 5, year 6. So 2012, 2013 was when I had my first cell phone ever. And my mom bought me my first cell phone. And that was a Huawei. Or Huawei or something like that. I'll just write the name of the cell phone brand down somewhere here so that you can check it out. And then in 2015, but you know what? Let's go back to what I'm talking about here, this iPhone. So I was very happy to buy myself an iPhone because I remember when I was in high school, I felt left out because back then I didn't have an iPhone. I couldn't really afford an iPhone because I didn't grow up very wealthy. I didn't grow up very rich growing up. So, and also my mom wasn't really convinced about buying me an iPhone. So I had to stick with the phone that I had, which was an Android phone. So post November 2nd, 2017 is when I bought my very first iPhone. And I felt very happy because I was able to blend in with my friends that had iPhones. So I switched from Android phones to iPhones because I observed the way they are, iPhones, and they're very smooth, they're more luxurious than Androids. And I know you're Android, and if you're watching this video, this episode on the Android, and you're probably going to roast me for this, but I am an Apple patriot. I love Apple. This is the MacBook Pro. This right here is an iPhone. This is an XX Max. And these are Apple earbuds right here. Yeah, so I'm an Apple patriot now. Literally. So I know you're going to roast me in the comments for me not being an Android person, but I've been there and I didn't really like the Android experience, so that's why I switched from Android phones to iPhones. But I started off with the Android. Then in 2015 my mom bought me a Windows phone. Then in 2017 I switched from, also bought myself an iPhone. So I had 2 cell phones in 2017. So I had my Windows cell phone and I had my iPhone 5S. And it came to, So I was very happy that I bought myself the iPhone 5S. It cost me around $275. And I also bought a case, which was around $15 or somewhere between $5 and $15. I'm not very sure. Yeah. So far around $400 I received in pocket money. Throughout the entire year of 2017 I received $400. And I spent a good chunk of that on a new phone. So moving on to 2018. 2018 was the year I switched, where I moved from year 10, so 10th grade, to 11th grade, year 11. 2018. So in 2018, I don't think I was, I think I was still getting some pocket change, but this time, it wasn't just my mom that was giving me pocket change. My dad also decided to also pay me some pocket change into my bank account. So around 2018, I decided to open a bank account, and I'm pretty sure 10 years ago, in 2010 or somewhere around that time, my mom opened a bank account for me, or maybe later than 2017. My mom opened my bank account for me, so she deposited money in that account, So since 2017, when I was in high school, I had no idea that I had a bank account. Back in 2014, my mom told me that I had a bank account, but I had no idea how to access it. I had no idea how to get my hands on it. So 2017, my mom deposited some money into my bank account, which I did not know. Then from that point onwards, it gained interest, so it started growing. Went up and up and up and up and up. Yeah. So 2018, I was in college, or senior high school. And in 2018, I got my first job in 2018. So I was working at a retail store. So more than halfway through 2018 was when I got my first job at a retail store. And I was making around $100 a week because I was a student, so I had to also prioritize my studies and also do a little bit of work at the same time, even though the work wasn't a lot of work, but it was still something. So $100 a week from August to December, so I was able to save over $2,000. So I made over $2,000, but it came to a point where I went to the Apple store and I looked at the newest iPhone, because every time I go for after school tutoring, I would pass through the mall and have a look around, and the Apple store was always there, so I always had when I had a chance, I would walk into the Apple store and have a look at the iPhones and all the devices. And I was thinking one day I'll be able to buy a new iPhone from the Apple store. Yeah, so this year, so 2018, 2 years ago, from 2020, Also, when I had the money, before I had the money to buy the new iPhone, I looked at the iPhone. Back in the days of iPhone XS Max and iPhone X XR and X, and the iPhone X came out in 2017, so a year before the XX Max. So I looked at the XX Max, and there was two versions of them. Yeah, so there's two versions of the iPhone XX Max, brand new. So it was around 2018 in September. Somewhere around September is when they released the newest iPhone. And they had the iPhone XR, a few people can remember that, and the iPhone XX Max. I decided I wanted to get the iPhone XX Max XS series, and I decided to have a look at the, but this time I was in between the XS and XX Max. I decided I wanted to get the XX Max because it's bigger, because I'm a big man, have big hands. I decided to buy that later. Then when the time came, and when I had the money, I remember when I was in school, I'll go straight from school to the Apple store and buy that iPhone, outright in cash, in cold hard cash. So I paid $1,800 for the iPhone, which is the iPhone I have right now to this day. And as you can probably see, it's in perfect condition. Because I love to keep myself in tip-top shape. I don't like to see things damaged, myself damaged. That's why I love keeping things in tip-top shape. But one thing I didn't buy was Apple Care, because the reason why I didn't buy Apple Care was that I can take care of it myself, and I don't really need to worry about breaking the phone, because I can easily take care of it without having to get Apple Care and making sure it's safe and secure. Yeah, so I paid $1,800 for the new iPhone back in 2018. But before, I forgot to mention, before the iPhone, before I bought this iPhone XS Max, I was in a secondhand tech store, where I bought my iPhone 5S from, and I had to look around, and I saw an iPod Touch, and it was 6th generation, and that was the newest iPod they had over there. They didn't have the iPhone 7th generation. iPhone 6th generation was the newest generation they had. So I went ahead and bought it. So I bought the iPod Touch, 6th generation. I got the blue one. I don't have it with me right now, but it was the blue iPod 6th generation. It had a white screen and a blue back cover. Yeah, so I paid $200 for the iPod Touch 6th generation before buying the iPhone XS Max. So that's $2,000 spent so far in 2018. But I was still working a little bit after that. So my shifts, so since I bought the iPhone XS Max, my shifts started to decline. To the point where I was making less money, to the point where they decided to cut my shifts. And that was a worry for me. But it wasn't too much of a worry back then, because I didn't have financial responsibilities like a car and stuff like that. So it wasn't that much of a worry for me. Yeah, so far in 2018 I was able to make over $2,000, but I spent a lot of that money on an iPhone XS Max and an iPod Touch 6th generation. So rewind it back then, when I was in middle school and in high school, I didn't have an iPhone, I didn't have an iPod Touch, but now I was able to make my desires a reality. In 2018, In 2017, 2018, I decided to make my desires a reality by I saved up my money. Then it came to a point where I was able to had the money to afford. And I ended up buying them straight away. So now in 2018 I was able to get the iPod, because I remember back then I didn't have the iPod back then, in middle school and high school. So I made that desire, my desire deep down, a reality by buying that iPod and the iPhone. So the iPhone XS Max is my second iPhone I owned so far. And I know it's 2020, I know that iPhone 12 series is out right now. I can see there's iPhone 12 mini, the iPhone 12, iPhone 12 Pro, then there's 12 Pro Max, which I am on the fence, 60-40. 60% chance I won't get it, and a 40% chance I will get the iPhone 12 Pro Max soon. So 60% no, 40% yes. Because I'm thinking about buying something that's more practical, more useful than just a brand new iPhone. So moving on to 2019. So the year 2019 was when I moved from 11th grade to 12th grade. And about my first job, I was losing shifts. My shifts were going up and down. So at around 2018, December 31st, 2018 was the day I stopped. Was my last time I worked over there. Then in 2019, I left for my first job because they weren't giving me any shifts, and I decided to leave. So at that point, I was left jobless. So in 2019, so maybe before 2018 ended, my dad cut me off on money, so I wasn't getting any pocket money from my dad, and also in 2018, I also discovered, I saw an ad on YouTube where you can do surveys online surveys, and you can get paid for that. So I capitalized on that opportunity, so I decided to do that as well while I'm making money off my job and earning some pocket money on the side. So when I had my job, I had three streams of income. My job being my largest stream of income, my allowance from my dad and my mom being my second largest stream of income, depending on how much money they pay me, of course, and the online surveys, my third largest, or let's just say my smallest stream of income. So I had more than one stream of income, which meant more money in my pocket, simply to say that. And but at around December and November 2018 was when my dad decided to cut me off on money. So 3 streams of income down to just two streams of income, with the allowance, my pocket money coming from my mom, but now it's consistent, so it's down to just 2 streams of income. So my job and the online surveys. But in 2019, I left the job, so I'm down to just 1 stream of income. My smallest stream of income, which I can't really live off of that stream of income, so I had to get a job soon. And it took me about, let's say around 8 months to find another job, because remember, I'm a student, so I had to prioritize my studies. And so it made it a challenge to find another job. But then, a few months later, I got my second job, and that was at KFC, at a fast food restaurant. And then somewhere between 3/4 of the way through 2019, last year, I was working at KFC, and I worked very hard at KFC. I wanted to make a very good impression on the staff over there, especially the bosses up there. especially the management. I wanted to make a good impression on them so that I don't lose my shifts. So my second job at KFC, I was making more money this time. So it started off little, but it went up and up and up and up and up. So it started off where I was making, let's say $300 a fortnight. Then $300 a fortnight became $300 a week. So $600 a fortnight, so that's double pay. So I moved from 1 shift a week to 2 shifts a week. Then the hours changed for those 2 shifts a week. So I was making some more money. But then I decided to make us. So since I bought the iPhone, my mom found out about the iPhone XX Max that I bought. So she found out about the iPhone. Then she got real mad. She was very, very angry with me for buying that new iPhone because she found out that I spent pretty much all the money that I saved and made from my Paul's Warehouse job in 4 months, so in a few months, just on the iPhone. So she was mad at me for that. So coming back to this year, 2019. So when I was making money from my second job, I decided to make a better effort to save money. But my goal this time, while I was working at KFC, was to buy my first car. Yeah. So while I was working at KFC, while I was making more money than my previous job, I decided to use that to my advantage. And now that I had, now I went from 1 stream of income back to 2 streams of income. The second stream was from my online surveys, and the first stream was from my job, of course. And while I was making money at KFC, I decided to save money this time. But before I got my second job at KFC, I had a little bit of money in my pocket, and that little bit of money I had was around $300, and I decided to go online to look at some laptops, because the laptop I had was the HP laptop, a red HP laptop, and that laptop was a terrible laptop, bad laptop. The Wi-Fi connectivity was not working, and the touch screen went haywire, and the hard drive is messed up. So I gotta get a new hard drive. So that meant I couldn't use my HP laptop. So my mom bought me my HP laptop in 2015. Then it lasted me from 2015 to 2017. That's when things went. Now before 2017, so 2016, and but when I received my first laptop, my mom bought me a HP laptop. She paid $600 for that laptop, brand new HP, and it was a 360-degree laptop. So it was like a tablet, like one of those tablet kind of laptops, and I enjoyed it for some time until I ran into some annoying ass issues. And one of those annoying ass issues was that I use a touch screen to play video games on my laptop, like Asphalt 8 and Asphalt and all other types of games. And the game would control itself for short periods of time, and the touch screen would go crazy without me touching anything. It would just move around on its own, and it came to a point where things got worse, not better, it got worse. And it came to a point where I was doing some homework, some classwork on my HP laptop, and I went to a strange website accidentally and downloaded a strange application accidentally, and it downloaded that Then after I downloaded, ended up downloading a virus, a malware on my laptop, and that made things even worse. That meant that I had to send that laptop to a technician to fix it, and the technician charged about $50. As best as I can remember, 50, which is good money. Good money you pay to fix a computer. So fast forward to 2017, when I was moving into college in Canberra, and I had the opportunity, because the government was providing free laptops, free Chromebooks to people moving from, so 2017 was when the government decided to hand out free laptops. Then after you finish your school, you give those laptops back. And I was on the fence of taking that offer or not. I decided to take that offer because my HP laptop was falling apart inside. So I took advantage of that offer. Then 2019, that's when I decided to buy my own laptop, my very own laptop, which is a MacBook Pro, and I have it right now. So August 2019, last year, was the date I decided to buy the MacBook that I have right now, right in front of me. Yeah, so I paid around $300 for the MacBook Pro. So it was 2010 or 2011 model. So it's either way, it's almost 10 years old. So if it's 2010, that's 10 years old right now, then 2021 will be 10 years old. So I'm thinking about upgrading and getting a newer one. Most preferably a brand new MacBook. Soon. Very soon. Then moving on to next year. So next year was 2020, so I still had my job, still had my KFC job. I was saving some money. Because remember, my goal was to save up for a car. Now I was looking at different cars online, like car sales and Auto Trader, those kind of places, but I was living in Canberra, so I had Gumtree. In America, you would call it Craigslist, but in Australia, in Canberra where I live, we had an online listing place called Gumtree. So I looked on Gumtree and looked at a bunch of cars that I liked, and I managed to run through some interesting cars. Because I was looking for a luxury car. I was looking for a car that was luxurious, so I was looking for those kind of cars. So those kind of cars that I was looking for, and it ended up being Audis, Mercedes, and BMWs. Because I was looking for a car that's nice and luxurious for my first car. So moving into 2020, I had a decent amount of money saved up. So I was able to save a decent amount of money. So from 2018 and 2019, I made about $2,600 from my job, from my second job at KFC, because I started off late in the year 2019. Then in 2018, I made just over $2,000. So moving into 2020. Now, in 2020, that's when my hours, my shifts at KFC started to go down. That was since Christmas. That was since December 2019. My shifts started to go down to the point where I was making less money. To the point where I was making less and less money, and it came to a point where I had to get another job and end up quitting that job soon. It came to a point where I was making $150 a fortnight, or $70 a week, $70 a fortnight at the absolute lowest. So basically it went from $600 a fortnight at my peak when I was working there to just $150 a fortnight. So that's $70 a week. It doesn't take that much of a mathematician or somebody to know that's not a lot of money. That's nothing. So I knew I had to get another job, and I ended up landing on an apprenticeship in carpentry, and that was around January or February 2020 this year. And I knew I had to get another job, so I just landed on that apprenticeship, and I got the apprenticeship, and I was making a lot of money this time. So I went from $300 a week to almost $600 a week. So that's double. But this time I was doing this apprenticeship full time, because 2019 December was a date I finished school. So 2020 was a year I moved into an apprenticeship after I quit my job at KFC. So the apprenticeship was my third job. I'm not working at my apprenticeship anymore. I'm tired of it now, but I'll tell you a story. So I was at my apprenticeship, and I was making $600 a week, and I really wanted to save money this time. And it came to a point where it took me around 5 weeks, let's just say over a month, for me to save up for a car. And this time, now somewhere before 2020, I was thinking about getting a BMW, Mercedes, or an Audi. But someone told me that they were selling a car, and they were selling an Avalon. At first, when I heard Avalon, when I heard Avalon, I thought it was a Honda or something. But I went to the place, I checked it out, and it was a Toyota. And it was at nighttime when I saw the car. Yeah, so like I was saying before, the car that they were selling. So specifically, it was a woman who told me. So a woman from the church I go to told me about this car that they were selling. She told me about this car that her husband was selling, and it was an Avalon. First, when I heard that name, that doesn't sound like a luxury car to me. That doesn't sound posh to me. So I brushed it off for the moment, and I kept on looking for cars. Because I wanted to get the first car that would suit my personality, that would suit my character, and suit my vibe. And that car that they were selling didn't sound like it would have fit my vibe until I saw the car. The car looked nice. And I saw it at night, so I didn't really see what color it really was, so I kept on thinking about what car I was going to get. So I came to a point where my choices started narrowing down on cars. So I was stuck between a choice. There was this car I saw on car sales in Australia, in Canberra, and it was an Audi A4 convertible. They were selling it for $7,500, and to me, that sounded like a deal. So I was thinking, if I just work hard enough, I'll be able to get that car soon. But I was stuck between a choice between that Toyota Avalon and the A4 convertible. And the A4 convertible was out of state. That was in a different state because I live in ACT. And this Audi A4 was in New South Wales. So I had to travel quite a bit, a distance. I had to travel 155 miles just to get the car and come back. So if I was going to buy that Audi. But if I buy the Toyota, which is in Canberra, and they were selling, so before I talk about this choice, so after that I was thinking about buying the Avalon, because I had the Avalon in mind compared to the A4 convertible. And the A4 convertible was from 2007. The Avalon was from 2000 or 2001, so the Avalon's older than the A4 convertible. So I got in contact with the seller and asked how much he wanted to sell it. So his initial asking price was $2,800. So I was able to ask for a lower price, so I negotiated a little bit. So it went from $2,800 to $2,500. To me that sounded very sweet to me, so that sounded perfect. So I agreed on buying the car for $2,500, and I was really thinking about this choice. But then, long story short, I decided to buy the Avalon. Hold on a second. Yeah, so long story short, I decided to buy the 2001 or 2000 Toyota Avalon VXI over the Audi A4 convertible, the 2007 Audi A4 Cabriolet. The reason why I made that decision because, number one, it's going to be a hassle to get that car and come back. Because I had to travel 155 miles plus just to pick up the car, then take it back to Canberra, and I had to pay registration to change the registration from New South Wales to Canberra's registration, and I had to pay for the license or whatever. So for me that alone was going to be a major hassle for me. And number two, Audis aren't very reliable cars. Because I was talking to people, and people told me that I should buy a reliable car from my first car, a cheap and reliable, an affordable and reliable car from my first car. So I decided to buy a car that was reliable, and I knew that Toyotas were very reliable cars. So that's another reason. So that's the reason why I decided to buy the Toyota, because of reliability and because the car looks nice. And I have that car, that Toyota Avalon, today. And I personally call it the Jerry Mobile. Yes, the Jerry Mobile. Because before, if you watched my car episode, the car that I bought this year, that I'm talking about right now, I'll leave a link in the description so you can watch that episode about the car that I bought. And in that episode I decided to call it the Big J Mobile, but I decided, nah, I want to call it the Jerry Mobile. I decided to call it the Jerry Mobile to give it some flavor, to give it some personality, to give it my personality. So that's why I decided to call it the Jerry Mobile. So I paid $2,500 for the Toyota Avalon, and that was in March this year, 2020. And after all, I was making decent money. I was making $30,000 a year, so $2,500 a month. And I was making $600 a year before tax, so after tax that's $500 to $550 per year, which is quite a lot of money for me. But the job didn't last very long. And obviously, because of COVID-19, they had to lay off some workers. So it happened. So I lost my job after I bought my first car. Like after I bought my first car, I lost my job. And it was tough for me, a bit tough for me. And I lost the job, but the thing is, I was losing interest and I wasn't liking it. I was not enjoying it, so I decided to leave the job. And the truth is, losing that apprenticeship has actually been a blessing in disguise. So after I lost the job, and I had money saved up after that. So after I bought the car for $2,500, I decided to look for another job. So far I made $4,400 from my third job, and I also made more money than that. So I also continue to make money despite losing my job. So I had to think of ways to make money despite losing my job. So to fast forward just a little bit, so from the beginning of 2020 till now, I've made around $11,153. So $11,153. So let's get my calculator. Yeah, so I was able to make around, so I made around $6,000 despite losing my job, being jobless. And how I made that $6,000 was by allowance, parental allowance, and my family members sending me money and stuff like that, just to support me, which I really appreciate. And also made that kind of money by selling stuff, doing side hustling. So selling stuff that I didn't really want. So for example, I sold my bike. And I sold my bike, let's say a few weeks ago. I sold it this November, so it's sold now. So I sold it for $500. So I made $500 in one day just for selling the bike. So looking back at it now, me selling the bike has actually been a loss and a win for me, because number one, I lose my bike, but number two, the win is I win $500, because at first I wanted to sell it for $600. I wanted to sell it for a profit, but then the one that was interested in buying the bike started to negotiate the price down to just $500. So I decided to take it because it's better than nothing. So I made $500 off that sale. And I sold it on Facebook Marketplace. So Facebook Marketplace was a platform I sold my bike on. So far from 2008 till now, so gross lifetime earnings. So gross lifetime earnings is upwards of $21,633. So that equates to $15,000. Alright, so let's move on to what I spent that $21,000 on that I made from my lifetime. So the $5,000 I made from that painting, gone. 100% of it went to the school. In 2011, 2012, So guess $100 in those 2 years. I spent it all. So that's pretty much gone. So mostly on food. Then in 2014, pretty much that $100 that I made in that year, that I can remember, is pretty much gone because of food. And 2015, I spent the $60 on Nike Match Supreme sneakers. And around 2016, I spent $90 on Nike Cortez. So that's pretty much the biggest purchase I can remember from 2016. So 2017, I spent $275 on iPhone 5S. So that's the only big purchase I can remember from that year, 2017. Until 2018, I spent $1,800 on iPhone XX Max, then $200 before on the on the iPod 6. Then in 2019, I spent $300 on a MacBook Pro, 2010 to 2011. And then in 2020, I paid $2,500 on my 2000 to 2001 Toyota Avalon VXI, which I still have now. And I also decided to invest $660 in my YouTube. So by buying camera equipment, so like the camera I'm recording on right now, and the tripod that's standing on right now, and another tripod. And just to let you know, I'm all alone in the house. I don't have a cameraman with me. That's why I have to check the camera back and forth to see if it's okay. And then I bought the gold cash money gun for $40. Then I bought the Apple AirPods for $250. Then I bought the Polo Ralph Lauren wallet. So you can see all those stuff. So if you want to see that, so if you want to see the Toyota Avalon, the camera equipment that I bought, the gold cash money gun, the Apple AirPods, I'll leave a link to all those episodes in the description, so you can go check them out. And also, there's season 1, so you can watch them all on season 1. Yeah, so that's pretty much my those are pretty much this financial video. And so far, like I said before, my lifetime earnings is $21,000 in climbing. So the amount of money I've made so far till now, from 2008, or from my lifetime till now, was $21,633. And the question is that you're asking, let me just check the camera. Alright, so the question is, how rich is Jerry? So basically, how rich am I?
I'm really rich. I'll show you that.
So let me tell you how rich I could have been. So the simple answer to that is, I'll let you be the judge. I'll let you be the judge, and I'll let you answer your own question and be the judge. So my answer to that is, I may not be a millionaire right now, but I'm working towards being a millionaire in the future. And I plan on doing that by increasing my subscribers and making money off YouTube and making money off business. And having my own plan on my own entrepreneurial business. So I have quite a bit of money on me, to say the least. And I could have been way richer now if I made and saved and kept every penny that I made, especially that painting, 100% of it. I would have $21,000. I would have a net worth of $21,000 plus. I would have a net worth of over $21,000, which equivalates to over 15,000 US dollars. So I'm 20 years old, and that kind of money would be enough. Would be enough to almost put me in the top 1%. The top 1% of the people in my age bracket. So that will give you a clue of how rich I could have been. So that's pretty rich. And I did some research to find out that the majority of people don't have $1,000 in their bank accounts. And I hate to brag, but I'm in the minority. So I'm in the minority of people that have that kind of money in their bank accounts. So yeah. So basically, if I had saved every single penny that went in my pocket from my life, from the day I was born till now, I would have a net worth of over $20,000. So that's the answer to your question, and that's pretty much it. That's all I have for you guys today on this episode of Ballin' with Jerry. If you enjoyed the episode, please give it a thumbs up and hit the bell notification to be reminded of my future episodes coming up soon. That's all I have for you guys today. Thanks a lot for watching this episode. And I appreciate you for watching this episode this far. And I'll see you guys later on the next episode of Ballin' with Jerry. So stay tuned for more episodes of Ballin' with Jerry.